Hey everyone, Theresa here of Larkin Design, and welcome back to my 2019 December Daily album. This is part of hashtag Scrappy Christmas in July, which you can follow on Instagram. You can follow the hashtag, and you can also be sure to follow Tracy Fox, who is Scrappy Like a Fox. And so I'm working on day 7 today, and I typically just go by, when I sit down to create each day, I sort of have a general task list that I try to accomplish so that I can stay on task. But most of the time I go by what I'm inspired to create. And sometimes I sit down with December Daily and I'm inspired to do a couple of days at a time. And other days I struggle. Just like anyone else, I struggle to feel like I'm getting things on the page the way that I want them, or just whatever, might have things on my mind. And so today's process video is only one day. It's for day 7, and that's okay. I think I just had a lot on my mind, and there's just been so much going on recently. I really want to participate in Scrappy Christmas in July, and I want to work on my album, but some days it's just hard, and some days it doesn't come together as easily as you wish. And so for this day, I finished day 7 and then put it away until next time. So my idea for this day was to do the transparency with the Christmas trees. I believe that was a Felicity Jane transparency. And then she also did these inserts, these cardstock inserts. And so this one has 6 circles on it. And I wanted to sandwich the transparency in between 2 layers of cardstock so that the transparency would poke through or show through those holes, and then layer a number on top of it. And so there's a couple of ways that you could do this. In hindsight, I would recommend pulling in 6 circles on your Silhouette software or your die cutter software or your cutting machine software, and just do it that way. But I thought that I would just try my hand at making the back myself, and what limited me was the reach of the punch. And so you can see here, I just cut down the back piece, and it's pretty narrow just to accommodate those circles, but still be able to punch those circles on both sides. And then I also am trimming down the transparency so that it fits in between the back piece as well. And in the end, I really like how this turned out, and I really like the concept of it. I would love to play around with it more. I would also love to do it again, like I said, with my Silhouette, or with, even if you had 2 of those circle pieces, you could put them back to back. But this was the idea I had in my head, so I'm going with it. And so once I have everything cut and punched, then you can layer the sandwich together, and the space in between the circles becomes the place for the adhesive. And so it worked out nicely. I think that if I had a piece of white cardstock that was a little bit closer to the white of this piece, it probably would look a little bit better. But again, I'm just going with it. This is the fun of homemade, and this is the fun of trying something different. Is that then at the end of it, you get to embrace that you tried something, and you get to love what you did, whether it's perfect or not. And that's really what I want you all to take away from this, is to embrace and love the work that you do when it's finished. And we have to practice that. We have to practice telling ourselves, hey, I love what I did. hey, I made something different here. I had a different idea. I didn't know how it was going to turn out, but I went ahead and made it, and I love it. And I love myself for making it. And I think that when we practice that, then we open up a world of, one, we open up the courage to try new things, and two, we become able to love our work because we change our own view of our work and we change our inner voices around our work. And so once I had all of this layered together and adhered, then I went ahead and adhered the number 7 onto the lower circle. And the 7 is also from Felicity Jane. I think most of the products I used in this process video are from Felicity Jane. And so when you turn the little transparency sandwich now, I have 2 4x6 photos that two 4x6 pockets that I want to fill. My story for this day is about being sick. Natalie and I both in November and December of last year were pretty sick for kind of a long time. It was like 2 or 3 weeks that she and I both coughed on end, and Natalie got sick first, and I always get whatever she has. And so they had tested her, and it wasn't flu A, it wasn't flu B, it also wasn't strep, and so we just ended up calling it alphabet flu. And I know that there's some theorists out there that are going to say, oh, you might have had COVID. No, I do not believe that we had COVID because no one else was being hospitalized at that time. It was not a pandemic at that time. We would have known. If it had been COVID in November or December, it would have caused this spike in hospitalizations. And we did not have to be hospitalized. We weren't struggling to breathe. It wasn't that sort of sensation. It was just a cough, a long-lasting upper respiratory infection. My doctor just called it that, an upper respiratory infection. But we were sick for a long time, and so I just wanted to I documented this cup of tea. I normally am not a fan of hot drinks. I don't drink coffee at all. Every once in a while, I'll drink a cup of hot tea, and then I'll remember precisely why I like cold drinks. But I actually drank a lot of tea during this time because it was the only thing that calmed that cough. Isn't that weird? We were both on antibiotics and both treated by our doctors, but the only thing that calmed that cough was hot tea. So I layered the 3.5 by 3.5 inch photo on top of the red and white stripe card and added the little acrylic tree to that. And I also layered a little tiny tag at the bottom with a stamp and a little epoxy circle on the bottom card. And then I'm working on the top card here. And so I decided to use that beautiful black floral pattern. That was from a December kit from a couple of years ago, I believe, from Felicity Jane. And I've just been holding on to this little piece of it because it was all that was left, and it measures 4 by 6 perfectly. And so I'm going to use that here and try to layer a few things on top of it. And so I decided, since this is a design decision, since my photo was on the lower right-hand side, I'm going to put a square for the journaling at the top left-hand side. So kind of an opposites attract sort of thing for balance. And I have the B side of an older journaling card that will be used as graph paper, so I have lines to write. And then I decided to back that with a little pink and white polka dotted card, and that puts a layer between two layers that are black and white, and so the pink provides a little bit of contrast there. I'm so sorry, my head is entering into the the frame here. So I went and grabbed, I had the little lady with the coffee cup, and so I decided that she belonged on this layout. And I'm just going through some of my stash to see if there was anything else that I wanted to add to this card. And I was considering that little red and white bow that also, you know, ties in with the red from the bottom card. But then I decided I needed to repeat the pink again, and the alphabet red was not the same red as the red on the lady's pajamas. So it made sense to use the pink alphabets instead. And I'm just going to spell out the word UGG. And then I will write some journaling here about my overall feelings at that point in time, which were pretty miserable and ready to be feeling better. We knew we were going to be leaving for Disney on Christmas Day, and so we were all kind of just holding our breath that everyone would get well and that no one would get sick on the trip or be sick when we were leaving for the trip. And so that was in the background too a little bit, but everything all worked out in the end. It just took a while to get over that. So in the end, I finished up my journaling here and then adhered her down. And I debated, should I add another epoxy circle? And I did, right there at the top with the UGG. And that completes this layout. Thank you so much for watching. You can see more on my blog at larkindesigntm.com. I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.